A suspect has been named in the Michigan mass shooting. Details just ahead. Plus, as threats of a parasite outbreak loom, how will the beef industry be affected? We speak with the local cattle farmer about rising costs. Well, good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Clara Benitez Cortez. We begin tonight with a major update in the so-called yogurt shop murders. After 34 years, investigators in Austin have identified a suspect believed to be linked to the killings. On December 6, 1991, 4 teenage girls were bonded, gagged, and shot in Austin yogurt shop. The shop was then set on fire. The victims were 17-year-old Jennifer Arbison, her sister, 15-year-old Sarah, 17-year-old Elisa Thomas, and 13-year-old Amy Ayers. Jennifer and Sarah Arbison's grandparents lived in Bishop. Police identified the suspect as Robert Brashers through DNA and ballistic testing. He shot himself to death in 1999 during a police standoff. The DNA evidence that tied him to the yogurt shop murders was found under Amy Ayers' fingernails. Brasher is connected with several other violent crimes across the southeast U.S.
Dan, what you have done for Sarah, Jennifer, Eliza, and Amy, there is absolutely no way that we can find the words. There is not a proper way to show our gratitude. All I can say right now is thank you.
Well, in the years after the murders, 4 men were wrongfully accused but later exonerated. 1 man was sentenced to death. Another was given a life sentence. Both of those men were eventually released from custody. Investigators believe that Robert Brashers, the suspect in the yogurt shop murders, may be connected to several other murders. Investigators have identified the gunman who killed 4 people and injured 8 others in a shooting at a Michigan church on Sunday. Jacob Sanford, the suspect in the mass shooting at a Mormon church, reportedly voiced anti-Mormon views in the week leading up to the fatal attack. That's according to a city council candidate. Authorities say Sanford drove his pickup truck into the church on Sunday and began shooting at people with an assault rifle before setting the building on fire. He died in a police shootout a few minutes later. The investigation into the attack is ongoing. Well, west of us in the Eagle Pass, Texas, 2 people are dead and several others are hurt after a shooting at a Lucky Eagle casino last night. The casino is on the Kickapoo Reservation on the Rio Grande near the southern border. 34-year-old Carrion Jones has been arrested and charged with 2 counts of capital murder as well as 5 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. A retired Customs and Border Patrol agent was reportedly one of the 2 killed in the shooting. The investigation is still ongoing. And while mass shootings continue to happen, the focus has turned to police preparation and how law enforcement responds to these incidents. Scripps News Group's Kadia Tubman reports on how police have made changes to improve response times.
I need manpower up here ASAP.
Another mass shooting in America.
It makes no sense. It never will make sense why this kind of thing happens.
This time at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Law enforcement there being praised for its rapid response that may have saved lives.
We were on scene within 30 seconds from that original 911 call.
Responding to a mass shooting is a reality for law enforcement agencies. There have been more than 320 this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive, and in each case, seconds can mean the difference between life and death.
Having fast response time saves lives.
Gene Petrino is a retired SWAT commander and says law enforcement response protocol changed after the 1999 Columbine High School shooting.
Back then it was believed that we would wait until tactical teams could be in place. We've gone to a new method where essentially the first officer on scene is going in even if they're by themselves.
According to an FBI report, last year, law enforcement responded to active shooting incidents at schools in under 2 minutes. Better technology like GPS has helped with that.
Very typically, departments will have tracking devices on their squad cars. So they know exactly where the squad cars are at, and then they'll have a computer-aided dispatch that will help pull up maps to help officers get to the scene more quickly.
Peter Blair is with the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training Center, which prepares first responders for situations like an active shooter. He says that even as response times improve, any delay can be deadly.
With firearms, there are a lot of casualties that be created very quickly. And so even a small delay can create many more casualties.
And well, last week we told you about the rising cost of beef and how businesses like restaurants and grocery stores are trying to combat it. But what about the cattle farmers who are the source of that beef? Edlin Farms in Alice has felt the impact of increased prices. Neighborhood News reporter Adam Beam spoke with the owner of the farm, who says his business has been forced to adapt to extra costs because of the shrinking cattle population.
5 years ago, I could sell you a entire cow, processed, ready to go for about $3,200. Now you can't even buy that animal in the field for $3,200, that same animal. It's costing around $3,400, $3,500.
Edlin also says new threats like a potential screwworm, a parasite recently found in the U.S., can also have farmers on high alert. He added that he's hopeful things will improve even if it means government intervention. And there's a rare pink jellyfish drawing the eyes of Coastal Bend beachgoers. It's called the pink meanie, and it's rarely seen in large numbers, as you can see right there. But recently, our beaches have seen an influx of these jellies. Experts say it's been spotted from Port Aransas to Corpus Christi.
We're seeing so many of them right now is because we have a bloom of moon jellyfish, and that's their main food source. So how they get their name is they're mean because they're eating other jellyfish, and they have a real pink looking color to them. They almost look like cotton candy floating around out in the ocean.
Dangerous cotton candy right there. Experts also say while it's a pretty creature, remember to keep your distance. And if you get stung, vinegar and warm water can help. The jellyfish is expected to drift out at least once the cool weather comes in. And speaking about weather, it's Monday and we hope everyone had a safe and enjoyable weekend. But with the new week comes a new forecast. And for that, we have meteorologist Stephanie Lauber. Stephanie, how's it going? Those pink jellyfish, they like the cool temperatures.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's actually been pretty nice beach weather too. So a lot of folks probably were out there, and hopefully you didn't find out the hard way that we had some pink meanies around.
Yeah.
But, it's a very nice start to the week. It's almost as if we only have nice weather during the week, but over the weekend wasn't too bad either. We've got some very nice puffy white cumulus clouds out there. The fair weather cumulus clouds, not expecting a whole lot of change when it comes to this pattern, at least for the next couple of days. So if you enjoyed the forecast, whether it was getting up to that refreshing fall feel this morning or a nice warm afternoon that was easy on the humidity, you're in luck. This is typically what we expect for this time of the year. We came in actually a little bit cooler than this 70 that's expected by the end of the month. High of 89 degrees, a little bit warmer than that, but we really need some rainfall in here, and that does look to be in the 7-day forecast. So stay tuned. I'll walk you through when you might need to bring that umbrella back out.
Chris 6 News celebrates Hispanic heritage.
Well, Martinez, Gonzalez, Rivera, Garcia, did you know all of these last names have meaning deeply rooted in Latin American history? For Hispanic Heritage Month, I take a look at the centuries-old origins of Latino last names.
It's Gonzalez.
When I was single, Maya.
Diaz. If you live in the Southwest, you're probably familiar with these last names.
Guzman. Torres. It became Bonavides.
Or it's probably your last name. Do you know where your last name comes from?
No.
Last names, also known as surnames, date back to the Middle Ages, but it's not so much where they come from. It's more about what they describe.
So if they were working on a ranch or something like that, they would often use that family's surname.
Dr. Christoph Landry works for Ancestry.com. They're a genealogy company that uses historical records and DNA to trace your family roots. Dr. Landry says last names can come from 5 different categories: descriptive, occupational, patronymical, toponymical, and topographical. For example, if the person lived by a church, their last name was Church, translated in Spanish to Iglesia. Hence, Julio Iglesias, the world-famous singer, or for my era, Enrique Iglesias. But last names could also describe landscapes or geography, like Montes, which means mountains, Peña, which means rock, or Costa, which means coast. Toponymical last names refer to places such as cities or towns, like Valencia or Guzman, both towns in Spain.
There are also patronymic surnames, right? So names that come from the father's first name. So generally the surnames that end in EZ.
So if your last name ends in EZ, it most likely is a patronymical last name, referring to the son of,
For example, Martinez, son of Martin, Rodriguez, son of Rodrigo, and Gonzalez, son of Gonzalo. But that isn't always the case. What about Cortez? That would be a descriptive last name, deriving from the word courteous. Other descriptive last names include Delgado, which means thin, Bueno, which means good, or Rubio, which means blonde.
Thousands and thousands of years, people lived in North and South America that did not have Spanish last names.
Dr. Christian Roberto Walk with TAM-UCC says it wasn't until Spanish colonization that Latin American countries started to see the use of Spanish last names, including right here in South Texas.
For a small period of time, Texas would become its own republic, and in the 1840s, would become part of the United States. And so that's why people, Mexicans in those areas, had Spanish last names that descend all the way back from that original Spanish colonial conquest.
For those with a last name like Guerra, Cantu, Herrera, or Romero, your last name describes an occupation. Cantu coming from the word canto, which means song, and could describe a singer. Guerra means war, describing a soldier, or Herrera, originating from the word herrería, which means iron work, and could describe a blacksmith. So what about the different types of spelling? What might use an S instead of a Z? Dr. Landry says it all depends on who was spelling it.
We see them write the names as they heard them and as they knew how to spell them. So that could change within a single person's lifetime.
And for those who use double or hyphenated last names like Benitez Cortez, Landry says that tradition comes from Spain. And it wasn't until the 19th century that we start to see that pattern emerge.
Now, we couldn't fit all of these Latino last names in our story, so head over to our website, christv.com, for a list of those last names and their meanings.
Hope is on the way. I'm Stephanie Molina telling you about a new thrift store opening up here in Kingsville and how it will help the community. The Salvation Army Kingsville is opening a new location here. I'm Stephanie Molina, your neighborhood news reporter, getting a preview of the thrift store and the organization's plan to help the community.
Eventually, this is going to be like one of the main entrance area, the cashier's area and stuff.
Steve Martinez, director of the Salvation Army of Kingsville, tells me that money has been tight for the organization, which led them to the idea for a thrift store.
Whatever we do with the thrift store, any funds that will come in will go back out to help families in the community.
Martinez says the more money they raise, the more families they can help in their other programs.
We have a food pantry. We help families in need with housing, like if they need help with the electric bills and stuff.
The thrift store is still in the process of being finished, but the Salvation Army understands there is a worry for neighbors who cannot buy items at the store.
You can always go to our office and apply for an application to get a voucher, and they can come to the thrift store and get what they need. If they need it, we'll help them out.
Currently, they're accepting donations and will eventually have a drop-off station outside with a sign set up for the community to help out. Benjamin Godwin, director of the thrift store, says the main things they need is furniture and appliances, but anything is appreciated.
We do want stuff that's gently used, things that we can resell, things that we can put in the thrift store to bring back into the community to help serve the community of Kingsville.
Martinez says the items sold at the store will be priced fairly to help those in need.
It's not about just money, but we want to give people hope of Jesus Christ. We want to give people hope that, you may be in a down time in your life, but we want to be there to be a light. We want to be there to be someone that can support you in whatever you may be going through.
The Salvation Army plans to open the thrift store in the next couple of weeks. In Kingsville, I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Stephanie Molina, Chris 6 News.
All right, Steph, thank you. And now let's swing things over to our other Stephanie for a look at your live traffic report. Steph, what's the latest?
All right, first commute home of the week. Your Monday night ride home looks like this from our SPID camera where the crosstown interchanges of SPID. Folks trying to merge there, but otherwise we're moving and shaking. So let's take you to those traffic maps, show you where we may have some slowdowns. You'll be happy to know we've got the usual stop and go on 37 as folks try to figure out how to get on the New Harbor Bridge, crosstown, wherever they need to go. Even though we showed you some of that slow movement, we'll call it, by the crosstown and SPID interchange, we're not doing too bad. It is moving. It looks better on this map than what we're seeing out there. Saratoga is behaving this afternoon, and if you're taking Staples for the ride home, it is going to be a busy one from Hamlin Middle School all the way down to Saratoga. So you may want to take Weber or even Airline as an alternate. As you head out, make sure you stay safe and drive safe. Stick around. Your forecast is next. Hey there, happy Monday. I hope you've enjoyed the forecast, whether it was over the weekend, maybe you've had some time outside today. It's feeling pretty good. This is fall in South Texas, and we are enjoying that absence of humidity, at least for the most part. But how long is this going to last is probably the next question that you have, because all good things must come to an end, right? Well, we have a couple more days where we get to enjoy this comfortable feeling outside. Right now, most of us are already making our way down into those upper 80s, and look at the feels like number in yellow. Fairly true to temperature out there. For once, we don't have those feels like temperatures just going off wild into the 90s. So let's take advantage of it. Maybe take the pup for a longer walk this evening. It's still going to be comfortable out there, even as our winds continue to be fairly light. Overnight, eventually, we'll see some calm winds in the mix. Right now, we're kind of watching the changes in the forecast take place. Today, we had more of a northeast wind. This is starting to become more of an east-northeast, and eventually, we will see those familiar warm and humid southeast winds coming back to the forecast toward the end of the week. But with it, at least, will come, hopefully, some rain chances. It looks that way, at least. Here's a look at our dew point temperatures. This is a good way to help us understand how humid it is outside in relation to the temperature. So we don't have any 70s on the board here. That's good. We're not dealing with that suffocating air you can wear, but hey, we still have a little bit of a muggy feel out there. It's overall a huge improvement over the past summer weather that we've dealt with and overachieving temperatures. So enjoy the break while it's here. It'll be here for the next couple of days. I think as we ride over the hump of the week on Wednesday, that's where we'll start to notice and feel some of those changes outdoors that are coming to the atmosphere. So what are we expecting for tonight? The next couple of hours are going to be, as I mentioned, pretty pleasant. Temperatures wiggling their way back down into the middle 70s by midnight. So we're going to have a nice fresh morning tomorrow as well. But I think by that point, our winds are going to be light and variable, if not still. So into the overnight, don't expect a lot of movement in the air. That's okay. Waking up to the upper 60s is going to feel plenty fine, and I don't think we have much worry for any fog out there overnight, because even as our temperatures cool down, we don't have all that much moisture to work with. That will be back, as I mentioned, for the second half of the week. We'll be back to dew points that are hanging out in those 70s and give us that air you can wear feeling, but hopefully we'll put all that water in the air to good use with a couple of rain chances in the mix. Looks like we might get some help from upstairs in the atmosphere, though I do think we will probably still add a few more red squares to the calendar. Notice today our high temperature came in at 91 degrees. That's just a little bit warmer than we typically expect for this time of the year, but we'll call it par. So on the other side, we would like to get some more green squares on the calendar. We just don't have a whole lot of water in the air, and there's not much in the upstairs weather pattern that's going to help us get any rain in the mix. So for now, we'll enjoy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's forecast, which is going to lend for some very nice, enjoyable weather. And then we'll keep an eye out for those rain chances as we head on into Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday. I don't think it's worth saying your weekend plans are canceled just yet, but hopefully some helpful rain in the mix.
Well, don't go anywhere, because we're still serving up news from your neighborhood. Coming up, find out why some of the best young tennis players are competing in Corpus Christi this week.
You're watching Chris 6, part of the Scripps News Group.
Welcome back. The HEB Tennis Center is serving up some high-level competition this week for the International Tennis Federation's Junior Tournament. It's the 8th year that the Tennis Center is hosting the Junior Tournament. The biggest difference this year is that it's a J200 event instead of years prior when it was a J60. J200 is one of the highest levels of junior tennis, which means better players and higher quality matches.
It's high level. A lot of good players. People who did good at U.S. Open coming here to compete, so it's exciting to see that level.
We're playing a lot of U.S. people in this tournament, but there are some Canadians and people from South America and Central America.
Well, the tournament begins today with the semifinal scheduled for Friday morning and the final matches on Saturday. And it's the start of a brand new week. Happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for spending your evening with us on Chris 6. Stick around. We've got a look at the weather for the week when we come back.
You're watching Chris 6, part of the Scripps News Group.
Everybody, welcome back to Chris 6 News. Before we let you go, let's talk weather for the coming week. Stephanie?
Well, it was really nice today, and if you didn't know, it's National Coffee Day. So if you haven't had your cafecito yet, there's still time. Maybe you're going to wait till tomorrow. Here's what you can expect. We'll call it a iced coffee season. It's still warm out there, but tomorrow we're looking at a high of 92 degrees. Still going to be feeling good out there, but second Monday, you might want to double up on the size there. Don't let me be the the bad influence here, but I'm always team coffee. So here we go. We're going to enjoy this beautiful weather through about the middle part of the week. Tail end of the week, you'll see the humidity coming back, and we hope that will translate to some rain chances.
Yeah, I'm always iced coffee for the win.
Me too, me too.
So, all righty, everybody. Happy Coffee Day. Hopefully you go get your cafecito. And we'll see you here back at 6 o'clock.